Hey guys, you know, being a fan of James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, you know, he does a lot of videos besides, the AVGN ones. He does his Monster Madness, Cinemassacre, movie reviews, rental reviews, and sometimes just the occasional, you know, unscripted, video where he talks about things that, he's a fan of or he's utilized and to help his career, become what it is today. So I figured I'd take inspiration from that and kind of do something that he did, in a video several years ago. Now, I think I did something similar, so I figured, I'd update it a little bit. But what I'm talking about is he did a video, and again, I did something, based off that as well, that I'm going to update here. Where he talked about the various cameras that he utilized throughout his development into becoming who he is today. From the cameras back when, in the days of even before he was born, like the 40s, or not the 40s, but the 50s and the 60s and stuff. And as he grew up in the 80s and 90s, like myself, you know, he he got to utilize a lot of different cameras and got to actually learn how to, well, like I said, you got to learn about how to utilize all different kinds of cameras and also kind of, how, and also, use them to film things as well. And, he even talked about how he learned more about that in college and everything. But overall, what he did was he basically took the time after explaining, what he was going to do and stuff, that throughout the video, he talked about and showed the various cameras that, like I said, he was introduced to, and that he even used throughout his life to be where he's at today. So, with that said, I decided, why not, update something that I did thanks to inspiration by him. Why not I do something updated, in a very similar way? So, without further ado, let's talk about the cameras that I've been utilizing, or that I've been utilizing throughout my YouTube career, as well as talk about some of my history with it as well. So, my history with cameras goes back to when I was a kid. Me and my family could never afford to own a camera. Both my parents, they had good jobs, but they weren't the kind of jobs that were at the that were at the levels that my aunts, my uncles here in California would have. So so we weren't able to really afford to get a camera. I mean, there were various times. I'll be honest with you. There were various times throughout our lives as a family that we were always talking about getting a camera. That eventually, someday we were going to get one. And when it looked like, financially we were getting ahead, that's when our parents would, start talking and hinting at the fact, okay, this is going to be it. This is going to be the time we're going to get a camera. And then something happens to derail those plans to where the finances that we're saving up for that camera has to go elsewhere. So, yeah, we could never afford to have our own camera, even though we had talked about it, various times, in our family's lives, growing up. And one of the reasons we talked about it a lot was mainly the fact that my uncles and my aunts on my mom's side had cameras. I know my aunt and my uncle that live in Hayward, back when I was like 8, 9 years old, bought a camera for their family. And they would use it all the time for holiday get-togethers and stuff. And then not that long after that, my aunt and my uncle in Tracy, bought a camera as well, and they would do the same thing. So we were never able to, have that kind of advantage or have that kind of fun that they had. So we had to rely on them to, show footage or, copy footage of, some of the events that we did as kids, or keep that footage on them for, historical reasons down the line. And, basically that was the only access we ever had to a camera, if you will. And, that being, our relatives. And if we ever got together for birthdays, holidays, taking a week-long trip vacation to Lake Comanche in Comanche, California, the only time we'd ever be able to, like, maybe hold it just for a moment or hold a camera or use a camera would be in those kind of situations. But most of the time it was reliant on them, so we never had access to those kind of things. That is until later on, when we got to the mid-90s and I was going to high school in Oskaloosa. And that's when my my experience with cameras started to really take off. Now, when I got to Oskaloosa, one of the things that they were working on, I think they started working on this around the end of my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, was they were giving us a computer lab. And it was a new computer lab because it was a new section of the school that they had just finished up, new gymnasium and all that. So they were giving us a new computer lab, but it was also a new computer technology lab where basically you got to learn more about not just the computers, but about other things technology-wise. And one of the things that I loved learning about was cameras. And I remember one day, I took a class in there and I got paired up with a fellow classmate. I can't remember what her name is. And, we were given an opportunity to practice, because one of the things we'd be assigned to do is do interviews with each other, kind of explaining things. And I remember just her videoing me and I'm explaining what I'm doing, explaining what the things are, and then I would video her and she would explain it as best she could. So that was my first full-fledged exposure in using a camera without feeling like I have to rely on my family, on my relatives, to have a camera around. Because even though it was the school's camera, I felt like I owned it. It basically gave me a sense of power. I don't know if that makes any sense, but a sense of ownership, if you will. And then a few years later, or several years later, when my senior year came around, we had what was known as senior projects. And it was a 2-part deal we had to do with the senior projects, 2-part deal. And one of the parts that I had to do with it was videoing. I had to do some videos and stuff. And I think I did interviews or something like that for senior projects, because what I was doing was interviewing people for my project, for one of the parts of it. And I remember that I basically said, well, let me go, because I was talking to a lot of people that I felt like were important influences and everything to me. So I took the camera. I asked if I can borrow the camera, and and this is what's funny, they allowed us to sign out the camera and use it outside of the school, mostly for school projects, and that's what I was doing. And I remember signing the waiver and everything, or signing whatever it was, and I took the camera home and I interviewed my dad, because he was an influence on me. He was an influence on me. He's my dad. He's also a Vietnam veteran. So I got to talk with him, get him to do it. And then unfortunately what happened is the camera somehow got damaged. It wasn't like a bad damage or anything. It was just like enough of a damage to where, it would cost a lot to repair. But what's funny is the teacher said, even though it's a camera I'd have to pay for because of the damage, and it wasn't that big of a damage, like very, very significant. What's funny is they completely forgot about it. Yeah. They completely forgot about it, and nothing ever came about it ever again. It's like it just disappeared, into thin air. And that was over, my God, what is it now? It's going to be 25 years, 25, 26 years, since that happened. It's unreal. But yeah, getting back to my point here. Holding that, being able to borrow that camera as well and take it off camera. Well, not camera, but campus, I should say. That felt invigorating. That felt like I had power. And I couldn't believe it. It felt so good. And basically and again, I was only limited to what I could utilize at that time. After that, it would be years later that I'd get to use the camera again. And the camera I would use, of course, was a regular web camera. And I have it stored away. I think I still have it. But it's just a regular rounded web camera is what it was. And I plugged it into my laptop, into my computer. And that's how I was able to do videos like that, at times. I didn't have nothing digital or anything. I was only limited to that. It was the best I could afford. And then later on, when I got a job, that's when things start to really get a lot better, in my opinion. And when I'm talking about things were starting to get better, finally, when I had a job and I had the money to do it, I went out and I bought this. This is my first official camera I've ever had. This is the Quasar 150 Digital 20X. It's a Video C. And unfortunately, I don't have the charger. I mean, unfortunately, like now, the battery is dead. I have the charger somewhere packed away in the garage. But yeah, this is a camera that still technically works in a sense. And again, this was the first camera I ever bought that was my own. It's really kind of cool. It's got a lot of different features on there, like it's got the, play and rewind and all that on there. So that was really cool to have on there. But just this little camera. And then of course it has the zoom in and zoom out. Now it does have an AC adapter here, an adapter for AC, a plug for AC, but I don't know what would fit in there, honestly. If anything would fit properly, I have to look. No, that's not AC, that's audio video, but I think, I take the I think, I think there might be, there's a plug right there. There's a little plug right there to fit in maybe an AC adapter, if I felt like doing that. So. But yeah, like I said, this is the first camera I actually bought that was my own. And there's a VHS tape in there, VHS-C tape, if you will. It's still in there that once I find a charger and charge the battery, I might be able to get out and everything. And just like with James, when I got this camera, I also had to get a VHS-C VHS adapter so I can, watch the videos I would record I would basically use the VHS-C VHS adapter to watch them on the VCR. So yeah, it's my first one. Like, it's got a lot of stuff in it. It's got fade, it's got backlight, it has, EIS, has D-zoom, which is like really up close. It's got focus, rear, and it's got focus, far, near, menu, and display. So, but it's got a lot of stuff on there. So, I was really happy to get this, and it was the camera. If you look at some of the older footage I've posted up, like if you look at one of my older Rescue Ranger videos I did, basically that there with the date and everything was recorded onto this, and I put that onto one of my DVD recorders, put that on a disc, and then put that into the disc player of the thing. Burned, kind of copied it basically to the computer, and was able to upload it like that. But yeah, this is how some of my videos that you see here on YouTube with the date and time stamp on it was recorded with this. And most of those were done when I was living, in Oskaloosa, not Oskaloosa, but Lawrence, Kansas. And I think maybe a couple of them when I lived in Patterson because, I needed something to film with. You know what I'm saying? Now, as we move further along here, I had other cameras that I utilized afterwards to get more of that digital feel, that instant feel. And one of them I had, I don't have it on me right now, it's packed away, was a Kodak camera. And the Kodak camera, I bought it at a Walgreens in Patterson. It works really well, and it worked really well for a time. But what happened, unfortunately, with that camera was we went to Great America, and I kept the camera on me. It was in a bag, one of the carrying bags I have, and I took it with me on one of those fast rides where you're just like sitting in the seat and you're hanging on, and you're going at, I don't know, like 100 miles, 150 miles per hour, whatever it is, up and down. And what happened was the camera broke. The camera worked, well, it didn't necessarily broke, it worked. It's just basically, let's just say the back part was completely history. So yeah, that was a mistake on my part. So anytime I go to an amusement park now with my family, a theme park, and I take something like this, I make sure to hand it off to somebody before I do anything. But yeah, I had that camera, and I'll provide again a video at the end of this. Now I'll provide a video at the end of this so you can see what I'm talking about, of what camera that is. But after that, I finally decided, I have a job, I need to get something nice for myself camera-wise. So I went online on Amazon, I believe. I think it was Amazon at my old job. I can't really remember. And I finally decided to get this. This is my Canon HD Vixray or Vixra HFR 500. The Canon Vivrex HFR 500, which still works and everything. The only issue I have with it, as you can see, it just turned on right there. The only issue I have with it, it's a little cracked right here and everything. But it comes with a load of features. It gives you, of course, an HDMI cable so you can watch it on your TV or put it on your computer, whatever. It's got USB. It's got an output for audio and video if you wanted to do that. For CRTV. It's got a mic one. It's got a mic output as well. Like I said, it's got the lens. And it's got a little battery pack there which you can charge. Um, Now, unfortunately, speaking of the battery is kind of dying on this a little bit, or it's getting weaker. Like, I mean, when I used to use it a lot, the when I would charge the battery, it'd be fully charged to 100%. But as you can see here, it only charges up to 20 minutes. It's a full charge. But you think it should be higher than that, but it's not. So, unfortunately, it doesn't do that. And of course, just like with any camera, it has the the option to, shut and open, if you will. So overall, though, it is a good camera. The only other thing too I will say is, for some odd reason, over time the charger adapter wears down to where it stays in there, it stays in the camera and it charges it, but it doesn't stay on for long depending on where you have the camera positioned. So unfortunately, you can't unfortunately you got to just work around that. And then, of course, speaking of cameras that I have of my own, that brings me to the next ones. Now, in the past 5 years, I've gained some more cameras. One of them that I bought about a few months before we moved out of Patterson and here to Newman, and this is the Polaroid IEX 29, and it's actually pretty good. The only thing wrong is I don't know what I did with the charger. I think I have it around here somewhere, the charger cable. But as you can tell, it still works after 5 years. It's got a nice little back display there, so it's really cool. As you can tell. And what's interesting, according to this, is when you hit the middle here, switches over to video, and you can record apparently in 1080p, but at 30 frames per second, which is pretty cool. And based on the SD card you have in there, you can have a lot of time or you can have a lot of less time, but it also depends on the format, and that's one thing I will say about these cameras. Now, this camera does offer excuse me, it does offer the zoom option here, so you can that's a quick zoom, but like here, if you can see that, you can zoom in very, very well, and then you can zoom out like that. And the same thing with video. In the video you can zoom in, and everything, so that's pretty cool. And again, it allows you to film in 1080p, which I thought was actually a good selling point at the time. And again, this was the last one I bought before we moved from Patterson here to Newman. But then, lo and behold, and I'm going to pick this up for a second. I bought this a lot later on, about a year ago. And I bought this because my family, my sister, had bought my sister and my brother-in-law, my oldest sister and her husband, had bought a GoPro for their son. And I liked it. And I like the idea, the concept of it, because you can take it anywhere. You can use it to film from anywhere and everything, or take pictures. And it comes with all different accessories. Like the video you'll probably see before this was used, not only with this camera, but it was also used using this head clip right here. So it definitely gives you a lot of options when it comes to using the camera. And the other selling point for me on this, they just adjust a little bit to be straighter. The other selling point for me on this, if you will, was it films in 4K, and that's where a lot of the 4K videos, the short ones, are like under a minute, under 8 minutes and 50 seconds, or around 8 minutes 52 seconds. That's where they come from and everything. Now, speaking of cameras, of course, I can't really talk about or wrap this up without talking about the web cameras that have helped out, or the other kind of cameras. Now, like I said, I can't wrap this up without talking about the other cameras I use, like the webcams and stuff like that. And one of them that I have is this one. I got this one last year, and this is a webcam that films in 1080p. And what's interesting as well is not only does it film in 1080p, but also live streams in 1080p as well. So you can, like I said, you can film, like I said, you could record in 1080p with this camera, on your computer or your laptop. You can do that, but you can also do live streams. Like a lot of my live streams, you've been noticing, that you've been noticing over the past several months, have been done in 1080p and not 720. So it's really, to just grab the thing there, it's really nice to have, around, because that way I can record, not record, but I can live stream in 1080p as much as I can. And what's interesting about it, before I put it away, just notice this on the instruction manual, is it also has a screw here. It has a screw here, so if you have a tripod, you can screw it onto your tripod and be able to do like a live stream like that or something like that. You can do a live stream like that or something from that perspective. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other cameras, of course, that I have, like down here, even though I'm using the app right now, is my phone. And it's because of this back here, this right here, this part of the phone, which is the camera part. I don't know if you can really see that very well. Bring that up. But yeah, that part right there. That part right there, if we can get zoomed in. Or focused on there. That part right there. That's another way I do videos, because what I do, like with the video I did while I'm walking home from Rite Aid yesterday, I was filming with that, and that's how some of the videos I did when I used to work with Walmart on my breaks and all that, that's how I'd film them, as well. Now, the other cameras, of course, I have, of course, the other primary one right here, I don't want to lift it right now, is the 3DS. And even though I've never really used that much as a camera, it is kind of, there to have, just in case I want to do something, maybe, down the line. But, yeah, like I said, I can't really close this out without talking about some of those web cameras and stuff that's helped me out outside of the ones I've shown you. So, overall, when it comes to my history with cameras, this updated version, it is a long history. It's a very unique one. I mean, like I said, me and my family, as far as I can remember, there were times where there was discussions and times that we would talk, where our parents would talk about getting one, and when it looked like financially we'd be ahead to do so, that's when something would come up. So we never got that chance, but thankfully, as time has gone on, we've been able to get that chance, and now basically you can go out and you can film, you can record, you can live stream with any camera, especially if it's part of your phone. So I really like that, and you know, I really like that because now it seems that you don't have to worry about whether or not whether or not you're going to have a camera in your possession. Most of the time, you're going to have a camera in your possession. There's no doubt. But like I said, my history with it is one of these unique ones where, even though my relatives had one, and that's the only way we got to, have any connection to that. Over time, I was able to start, building towards, getting my own cameras, like I showed you, and utilizing them, as well as utilizing the ones that I had access to even before then, to really get an understanding of what I was going to be in store for in the future. But anyway, though, guys, I just thought I'd take this opportunity to do an updated version, let you know what my history is on the cameras I've used. Big shout out to James Rolfe at Cinemassacre, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Thank you, James, for doing that video that you did. Maybe you might want to do an updated version down the line yourself. That's up to you. But thank you guys for watching. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I will talk to y'all later. Get vaccinated, guys. Stay safe. God bless. And I'm out. Hey guys, just gonna do a real quick package opening, hopefully without interruptions. If I do get interrupted, I'll have to redo it later. I do apologize. I just wanted to come on here and, like I said, do this quick one. Two packages today. One by UPS, one by United States Postal. So this one came before. So this was also ordered through Amazon, but because it was third-party deal, I have to, it was mailed out differently. So anyway, though, it was mailed out by order fulfillment, as they call it. But let's see what this one is, shall we? I have a few more package openings coming soon too next week. Not just from Amazon, but other places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment, Earth, G Fuel, I think, and a few others. I do apologize. I took some Zantac earlier, and it's the liquid gel caps, and that's helping a little bit. So anyway, let's take a look at the first one here. They were all priority out with this, didn't they? This is what I think it is. I gotta give shout out to Linkara for doing a review where he did a multi-part review on this recently, and this was the last thing he talked about because it kind of tied into it. There it is. Well, receipt. The address plastered on it. Who knew? And this was basically, I have to look it up again, but I got it out of third-party Amazon. And what is it? You take it out of the foil or the plastic. It is Regeneration 1. This is Chapter 4. This is Volume 4. This is, I think, this is the final episodes, the final issues that they did of that story. I gotta get the other ones, but this was I think where it picked up a little bit for them. So, yeah, we have Regeneration 1, Volume 4. And like I said, this is kind of where it picked up a little bit. And what Regeneration 1 was basically was Steve Firm's and IDW's a way of continuing the Marvel Transformers universe because it didn't get like a proper ending. So we got that, which is pretty cool. And again, shout out to Linkara for inspiring me to get that. I get that for the collection. And then this is the one that came a few hours ago for courtesy of UPS. This is like from the main Amazon area. And what is it? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Okay. So we have, gotta give shout out to Re-Res when they did a review on this several years ago. This is the AVGN HDP VR Pocket Rocket. It basically allows you to record in 1080p onto your computer, or in my case, a USB flash drive. So that's just pretty cool. Well, and they said it's good. Sean Re-Res, I said it's probably one of your best options you have if you want to do a video. Do capture without connecting to your computer. That's pretty cool. And then next up we have I've been wanting to get this, been holding off on it. Finally got it. It's the anime movie, the manga movie, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, which is one of those, more of a visual experience along with the story. It's pretty cool. And then next up we have My Little Pony, the manga, volume 3. I have the first 2 volumes. This is volume 3. Okay, sorry about that. I had to keep quiet for a second. And next up we have this one's a good one. A collaboration between IDW and Dark Horse Comics. IDW Comics, Dark Horse Comics. Crossover of Transformers and the Terminator. Which I'm surprised, Linkara hasn't got to yet, but he'll probably get to it real soon. So, Linkara, if you're watching, I think this is the one you should look into. And then last but not least, I think it's the last one. We have Transformers, Secrets and Lies. This is basically a prequel to everything that we see in Regeneration 1 and mostly the original Marvel comics as well. So it's basically like a prequel to all of that. So that's pretty cool. It's a collection of all the stories. It was a multi-mini series, so it's pretty cool. Again, it's a prequel to basically the Marvel series and then the IDW continuation in Regeneration 1. So it's pretty cool. So overall, yeah, not too bad. Got a couple of new books to add to the collection, if you will. Got a couple of new books. Really happy about that. Got to rearrange some stuff here down the line. Also got a new anime movie, one that, like I said, is visually appealing along with the story. And again, this, the Habaka, if I can pronounce it right, HD PVR rocket capture device, which you can actually use with a flash drive. So it's pretty cool. So anyways, though, guys, that's about it for the package opening for today, for this Friday, April 16th, 2021. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. And I am out. Take care. God bless. Peace. Hey, guys. just wanted to come on here. We're going to do a little unboxing here of the Hypogon. I think that's what they called it. Let me double check here. I look into my history. Well, that's assuming.
Now, I've had 2 models in the past of these devices, and they've worked great. And each one pretty much needs you to plug it up directly to a computer so that it can capture the footage. But recently, they released a new device that doesn't need you to plug it up to a computer at all. It's called the HD PVR rocket. Surrender now? Computer so that it can capture the VR from a company called Hapog.
Hapog. Alright, that's what I just need to know. It's called Hapog. That was Shane from Re-Res you heard in the background. But yeah, this is what he was talking about. But obviously, this is though a newer version, like a more updated version, a revised version, or something like that, restocked. Because the box is a lot different than what they showed, unless there's another box in here. But this is the HDR PVR rocket by Hapog that they were talking about, and I'll provide a link at the end of the video so you can click on it and check out that review. And basically, this is kind of very similar to what I've had before, but this works in 1080p. The other one worked in 1080p too, but for some odd reason it just would not let me record with the sound off my television. Excuse me, off my television here. So I don't know. I mean, I understand it's 4K and maybe that's the reason, but I'm hoping that's not the case here, because you know this gives it the same abilities, the same qualities, if you will. So yeah, it comes packed with a lot of stuff. Obviously, as you can tell right there, I don't know if you guys can really read that, but it comes packaged with a lot of stuff. And this actually cost, because I looked up, you know, the price of the one I bought originally, which was in this box. This was the original one I bought. The original device is actually in here. And I'll pull this out real quickly so you can see. This is the original capture device, the first one I ended up getting by AJP Tech, AGP Tech, if you will, AGP Tech. That was the first one I got. And then the second one, of course, I got right here, but this could only be hooked up to your computer to record any content off your television, you know, game-wise and everything. So I decided to get this, and the price range basically was a lot more. This cost about, I would say, $65 more than the AGP Tech one did. That cost like around half of what this did. And then this one right here, this 4K one, cost about, I would say, in the 70s maybe, or something like that, maybe a little less. I gotta look again. But yeah, basically there was a difference in price, a major difference, and I think it's because it comes with a bunch of stuff, like I said, that you could read right here. But with that said, let's open this baby up and see exactly what's contained within. As I turn my computer back on, basically, you know, off of the standby mode. So let's open this up, if you will, and see what's inside, if you will. Like, it's got tape and everything, so I think we should be okay if we just slit it. There we go. Always good to have a utility knife left over, especially when it's from your former job. But yeah, here it is. So let's open this up. And it's actually pretty big for its size. It's got a lot of stuff stuffed in there. It's almost like you don't want you to bring it out, but we got to bring it out to utilize it. Like I said, it's almost like you don't want it to come out or anything. Like I say, no, I don't want it to come out. I don't want it to come out. Alright, looped it a little bit. Didn't want to do it. Oop, looped it again. Didn't want to do that. That might be the only way we loosen it, but it's okay. There we go. I'll still use the box. I've had ripped boxes before. I mean, that one's a little ripped. I had to tape it up. But yeah, here it is. This is the device. And on top, of course, is the hop pocket, as they call it. And this is pretty nice. If you could see that. It's actually pretty nice, if you will. And this is where the drive would go, and then that's where the mic would go. And that's that there is a adapter basically for to get, it's AVN, that's audio video out, so that's pretty cool. But it's also meant for something else like this here. According to what they said in the review, and you guys can check that out yourself. Basically, one of these, I think this one primarily, is to bypass the copy protection on the PS3 if you use it for that, so you can capture footage. So that's pretty cool. We got that little nicely put in there, just like with my microphone, which is pretty cool. Very clicky and everything. And then they said basically that this is a interface touch face, so you can do the mic and everything when you want to put mic to it. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably put that back here. Put it back as you can. And there goes my remote. If this device works, I might look into getting another one down the line. Now, inside of it, we got some other stuff as well. We might have to move the hop devices for a second to look at the inside here. So on the inside, of course, you get an HDMI cable. They always come with these, so you can connect that. Comes with audio. I think this is the, I'll have to look at this. This looks like an audio out device, or for an extension of the mic or something like that. I have to look. Oh, this might be the connection to bypass the PS3 situation. That's pretty cool. I don't think I'll be needing that since I have a PS4. And then here we have another one. This is for the USBs, so that's pretty cool. And I think, yeah, oh, this is the cord that I was talking about. This is to help bypass it as well, because you can tell by the color of the cord, which is really nice. And then I think, yep, there's audio cables as well. This thing comes with a lot of comes packed with a lot of stuff here. Got more. We got the. This is for interface of the super video output. That's pretty cool. And then here we have a mic. This is actually what, and it has a little hook. This is what you would hook up and everything. And I think that's about it as far as a lot of the goodies that are included in this are concerned. So that's pretty cool. I just pushed the mic out of its area, so I have to put that back. I think that's why we have a little flap right here to kind of protect all this stuff. That's pretty cool. You get a bunch of stuff here to help out with the hop. When you connect it, you get the instructions in there as well, which is really cool. And of course, like I say, you get the HDMI cable, which we can put back as well. Maybe you have to put that on this side, what to do. Yeah, have to push that in. They tightly, I'll say this, they tightly compact this is what they did. They really packed this together in one area just to make sure you don't lose anything. There we go. So when that's sticking out too much, and then we got the Hapag device we can put right there. And then, as best we can, put the damn stuff back in, if you will. And it's got little feet too, just in case it looks like. Yeah, it's going to be split into two parts at a prom. And there we go. Probably not the way it came out, but definitely the way it's going to go in. I usually keep my devices out anyway, so I might keep this out later. But yeah, that's it, and looks pretty nice. Not in the way it was originally, packed, but doing the best I can here. They really stuffed it together, I'll say that. So, but let me know what your thoughts are. Big shout out to Rerez for recommending this, and hopefully it works for me. And I will talk to y'all later, guys. So till next time, God bless. Take care. Peace. I am out.